It was just another Tuesday evening, and I was slouched in my usual seat on the number 42 bus, winding through the pristine streets of Willow Grove Estates. My economics class had dragged on, and all I wanted was to get home, kick off my shoes, and crash. The neighborhood was picture-perfect manicured lawns, identical houses, and an HOA that ruled with an iron fist. At the helm of that HOA was Melissa Harper, a woman whose name alone could make residents flinch. She was infamous, the kind of person who'd measure your grass with a ruler and fine you for a single weed. But I never thought I'd see her turn my boring commute into a spectacle that'd have the whole town talking. The bus was humming along when it lurched to a stop, way more abrupt than usual. I glanced up from my phone, annoyed, and saw a sleek black BMW SUV parked diagonally across the road, blocking us like it owned the pavement. Before I could even mutter, "What the heck?" a woman stormed toward the bus, her face twisted with fury. It was Melissa Harper, no question. Her auburn hair was swept into a perfect updo, her designer scarf flapping over a crisp blouse. But get this, she was wearing bright pink bunny slippers, like she'd bolted out of her house mid-meltdown. She looked ridiculous, but the rage in her eyes was no joke. "You're 30 seconds late," she shrieked, jabbing a finger at our driver, Tom, who's honestly the chillest guy I know. 30 seconds? I blinked, thinking I'd misheard. Was this woman really losing it over half a minute? Tom, cool as ever, cracked his window and said, "Ma'am, there was construction on Pine Street. I'm doing my best. Could you move your car so we can keep going?" His voice was steady, like he was talking to a toddler ha-VYing a tantrum. Melissa wasn't ha-VYing it. 30 seconds throws off our entire neighborhood schedule, she bellowed, her voice so piercing I swear it rattled the windows. "I'm Melissa Harper, president of the Willow Grove HOA, and your bus is ruining our community standards." Out of nowhere, she whipped out a clipboard seriously. Does she have these stashed under every bush? And started quoting some nonsense. Section 9, Paragraph 3. All municipal vehicles must stick to schedules to reduce noise and traffic disruption. By now, everyone on the bus was gawking. The girl next to me, a college kid with neon headphones, whispered, "This is going viral." Sure enough, phones were out, cameras rolling. Behind us, cars were piling up, horns blaring, but Melissa didn't care. She was too busy ranting about hypothetical chaos caused by a bus being 30 seconds late, while her BMW was causing an actual traffic jam. The irony was thicker than her mascara. Tom tried again, still calm. "Ms. Harper, I get that you're upset, but I've got folks here who need to get home, to work, to doctor's appointments. The HOA doesn't control public transit." That set her off. She slammed her hand against the bus thwack so hard it echoed. "Don't tell me what my HOA controls," she screamed. "I run this neighborhood. I've had bus routes changed before, and I'll have yours canceled." The tension was unreal. Passengers were muttering, some laughing, others furious. Then, an older guy near the front stood up, his face weary but determined. I recognized him as Mr. Grayson, a retired teacher who lived a few streets over. Tom opened the door, and Mr. Grayson stepped out, approaching Melissa like he was bracing for a storm. "Melissa," he said, his voice firm but kind, "this is a public bus on a public road. You're causing a dangerous situation." She spun on him, her face beet red. "Stay out of this, Henry. Just because you were on the HOA board before me doesn't mean you get it. Late buses tank property values. They bring crime. I have more power here than the mayor." Mr. Grayson sighed, muttered something about unreasonable people, and climbed back on the bus. By now, the bus blocker Melissa hashtag was probably blowing up. Passengers were live streaming, and the standoff dragged on. Melissa alternating between yelling at Tom and making frantic phone calls, probably trying to rally her HOA minions. Just when I thought I'd be stuck there forever, I saw flashing lights in the distance. Red and blue, cutting through the dusk. Someone, maybe a passenger, maybe a driver stuck in the jam, had called the cops. 2 patrol cars rolled up, and 3 officers stepped out. I spotted Officer Daniels, who'd given a safety talk at my college last semester. He took one look at Melissa, and, I swear, his lips twitched like he was fighting an eye roll. Clearly, this wasn't their first rodeo with her. "Ms. Harper," Officer Daniels said, his tone polite but clipped. "We've got multiple calls about a disturbance and traffic obstruction. Move your vehicle now." Melissa clutched her clipboard tighter like it was a shield. "Finally," she snapped. "I've been trying to report this driver for breaking neighborhood rules. He was 30 seconds late." 30 seconds, and he won't admit how serious that is. Daniels and his team talked to Tom, then started collecting statement from us passengers, who were practically VYing their phones in the officers' faces with "VY Deo, EVY Denke." Melissa kept ranting, pivoting from the bus schedule to a full-on tirade about declining standards and how she was the only one keeping Willow Grove from falling into chaos. It was unhinged, but you couldn't look away. Then the mood shifted. Daniels came back after watching some of the VY Deos, his face stone cold. "Ms. Harper, I've asked you 3 times to move your car. You're refusing. You're creating a hazard and disturbing the peace." Melissa's voice got shrill, almost panicked. "I'm enforcing community standards. The HOA bylaws say." "Bylaws don't trump state traffic laws." Daniels cut her off, his voice like steel. "Move your car, or we're taking action." Melissa's eyes bulged. "Do you know who I am? I pay your salary. I'll have your badge. I'll call the commissioner." She was spiraling, but Daniels just nodded to his partners. In a heartbeat, they stepped forward. "Melissa Harper, you're under arrest for obstruction of traffic and disorderly conduct." The bus erupted in gasps. Melissa's screams hit a new pitch as the officers cuffed her, calm but firm. "This is outrageous," she wailed. "I'm protecting property values. You can't arrest me for doing my job." Daniels didn't flinch. "Your job isn't to block public transit," he said, reading her rights as they led her to the patrol car. One officer grabbed her keys and moved the BMW, finally clearing the road. Even as they shut the car door, Melissa was still screaming about bylaws and standards. The second that door slammed, the bus and the cars behind us burst into applause. It was like a MOVYE, this spontaneous cheer for justice. Tom, still the picture of calm, got back in his seat, let out a long breath, and said over the intercom, "Sorry for the delay, folks. We'll be MOVYing soon." There was a hint of a smile in his voice, and honestly, we all felt it. 3 days later, the VY Deos of bus blocker Melissa had millions of VYUs. The mayor's office put out a statement praising Tom for keeping his cool under pressure. Melissa's arrest was all over the local news, with talk of due lot $2,000 in fines and legal fees. But the real kicker? The Willow Grove HOA called an emergency meeting and voted unanimously to boot Melissa as president. My buddy who was there said she stood up, pointed at everyone, and yelled, "You'll regret this when the buses are 45 seconds late," before storming out still in those bunny slippers. It was wild, seeing someone so obsessed with control lose it all over 30 seconds. Tom still DRIVYing the 42, same as always, and the neighborhood feels a little lighter without Melissa's clipboard looming over us. But it makes you think, what's the line between standing up for what you believe in and just being a power-hungry control freak? Was Melissa really about standards, or was she just addicted to throwing her weight around? And what would you have done if you were on that bus jumped in like Mr. Grayson, recorded like the rest of us, or just sat back and watched the chaos? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Tom, and subscribe for more stories that'll make you laugh, gasp, and maybe even rethink your HOA.